Good evening, everyone, and welcome to BC3's program Spotlight on Applied Technology. Our agenda for tonight's virtual event is as follows. We will have an introduction from the Dean of our STEM division, hear from 3 faculty members, and then walk you through your next steps in the enrollment process at BC3. We will end with a question and answer session with today's presenters. We have provided some program-specific materials for you that are currently available under the handout portion of the control panel. You also have the opportunity to submit text questions to today's presenters by typing your questions into the questions pane of the attendee control panel. You may type and send your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end. I would now like to introduce our Dean of the STEM Division, Matt Kovac.
Thank you, Susie. Good evening. Welcome to the STEM program Spotlights. I'm glad you're able to join us. We are excited to tell you about the programs offered at BC3 in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, also known as STEM. Featured will be faculty members Mike Robinson, Karen Riethmiller, and Kevin Rudiger, who will share with you information about the manufacturing with advanced technology, applied industrial technology, and measurement science metrology programs. I will then return a bit later to talk about the other programs offered by the STEM division. Again, thank you for being here, and I will now turn the program over to Susie.
Thank you, Dean Kovac. Remember, if you have any questions for Dean Kovac, you can type them into the question pane of the control panel at any time during the presentation. Before I introduce our first faculty presenter, we would like to ask our audience a question. Which business sector in Pennsylvania and in Butler County has the highest average annual salary? The options are construction, transportation and warehousing, manufacturing, healthcare, or education. Please select your response and click Submit. Once everyone has had a chance to respond, we will close the poll. We are now closing the poll. Let me share the results with everyone. It looks like the majority of you responded with the answer of manufacturing. I would now like to introduce our first faculty presenter of the evening. Mr. Mike Robinson, Assistant Professor in the STEM Division at BC3. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Susie. Hello, everybody. It's great to be with you today to discuss opportunities in manufacturing technology. Hey, let's take a look at that last poll question. If you picked manufacturing, you were right. It looks like most of you did. Some of you might be surprised to learn that in Pennsylvania, and here in Butler County in particular, the manufacturing sector has a higher average annual salary than any of the other choices. Additionally, jobs in this sector also tend to have excellent fringe benefits like vacation, retirement, health insurance, tuition reimbursement, and so on, and clean, safe working environments. Let's go on to the next slide. For many years, manufacturing in the United States was on a painful decline as international competition increased. We all know about the years of outsourcing to China and Mexico and the effect it had on our economy. Manufacturing shed a lot of jobs in the 70s and the 80s. Some of your family members might have been affected, but many of these were low-skilled jobs and businesses with products that could easily be sent offshore. Luckily, US-based companies learned quickly that in order to survive, they had to quickly become more efficient, lower their costs, and greatly increase the quality of their products. One of the tools they employed has been what we call advanced manufacturing, or AM for short. The key technologies of AM are on your screen, and they include computer numerical control machining, or CNC, robotics and automation, computer-aided design, or CAD, and most recently, 3D printing. These are called enabling technologies. They help companies design, prototype, and build products faster, cheaper, and with more innovative features. Today, the US is the most productive country in the world, thanks in large part to these enabling technologies of advanced manufacturing. Next slide, please. So how does all of this benefit folks like you who are looking for a new career? Well, manufacturing is experiencing a rebirth, and these advanced manufacturing technologies have opened up a whole new set of job opportunities for people with the right skills. Today, AM accounts for 13% of all the jobs in the United States. That's over 24 million people. And these are typically good paying jobs, as we discussed before, and typically with good benefits. In fact, jobs in advanced manufacturing are the most highly compensated of any industry sector in the United States. And these jobs are plentiful. Decreasing costs of the technologies of AM over time means that even small companies can afford to buy them and put them into their factories. Perhaps somebody in your neighborhood has done that. And this means that people with the right mix of skills need to be hired on to specify, install, maintain, program, and operate these new technologies. Also, this sector has the highest average employee age of any sector of the economy, which means there are many people retiring out of this sector. This leaves plenty of room for new people like you. Next slide, please. So what specific things will you learn in the Manufacturing with Advanced Technology program here at BC3 that'll help you qualify for these great jobs? The bottom line, you need to take several courses in STEM, as Mr. Kovacs said. To be a manufacturing technician, you need to be trained as a skilled problem solver who understands the key aspects of how products are designed and manufactured. Here's a few of those key courses that you'll be taking. Computer-aided design, things like AutoCAD and parametric 3D modeling with SolidWorks. Computer-controlled machining, where you learn how to program industrial CNC machines like mills and lathes. Manufacturing processes and materials, where you discover the key processes and materials used in manufacturing. Robotics and automation, where you program our 6-axis industrial robot. Digital fab and 3D printing, where you work in our fab lab to design and produce parts using things like 3D printers. And of course, math, physics, and chemistry. Those are part of the job too. Next slide, please. Here's 4 more STEM courses you'll take that are vital to success in today's advanced manufacturing environment. You'll also have the opportunity to take a capstone course in your final spring semester, in which you'll apply what you've learned in a team-based, real-life project class. In all, the program is comprised of 64 credits, the vast majority of which are hands-on, core STEM classes taught by industry professionals. You'll enter the industrial workforce ready to contribute on day one. Next slide, please. Well, we've just discussed the 2-year program briefly, but there's also a second option, our Basic Manufacturing Workplace Certificate. This is a great option for students who might not be ready or able to commit to a 2-year program of study right now. This certificate's 17 credits overlap 100% with the 2-year Manufacturing with Advanced Technology degree. So it's easy to continue on in the 2-year program at a future time when it's right for you. And this certificate can be completed 100% online if that works out for you. Last slide, please. So if you're looking for an exciting career with good wages, great benefits, plentiful opportunities, and great working conditions, I'd invite you to take a look at this particular program, the Manufacturing with Advanced Technology program. And whatever program of study you decide on, I hope to see you in class this fall. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Susan.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for speaking with us about manufacturing at BC3. Remember, if you have any additional questions for Mike, you can type them into the question pane of the control panel at any time. Before I introduce our next faculty presenter, we have another question for our audience. What is industrial technology? Is it helping a company increase production and efficiency, the use of creative and technically proficient individuals, the use of engineering and manufacturing technology, or all of the above? Please select your response and click Submit. Once everyone has had a chance to respond, we will close the poll. We are now closing the poll, and let me share the results with everyone. It looks like the majority of you selected all of the above. I would now like to introduce our next presenter, Ms. Karen Reithmiller, professor in the STEM division. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Susan. Welcome, everyone, to Butler County Community College, otherwise known as BC3. Sometimes they always call it BC Cube. The course that I'm going to talk to you about in the program is Applied Industrial Technology. As you just noticed, it took all of those items noted in your question to be able to pull everybody together to make things work in production and industry. So we have to have creative and technically proficient individuals. We have to have individuals that are creative and individuals that don't mind using their hands and get in with the equipment and to get the job done. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. So as we just noted, this was actually what Wikipedia said, but we included a few other things with the diversity. And also you got to add in teamwork. One of the things we stress in our classes is teamwork and working together. And frankly, when a customer calls or somebody is looking for an individual to be with their company, one of the questions they ask is this person a team player? So we try to get you as much experience as possible in working together. Next slide. So just as Mr. Robinson had mentioned to you about some of the courses, and a lot of these programs have courses that are similar to each other. So we'll actually have students complete more than one program at a time. Some of these include your digital fabrication and the fabrication lab, as Mr. Robinson had mentioned. Here we have a student that actually has a model drawn up on the CAD, and they're actually printed it out in our 3D CAD lab. So you're going to learn how to prepare 2- and 3-dimensional drawings using AutoCAD, SolidWorks, and Mastercam. Mastercam is the software we use for CNC machining. Next slide. Thank you. So the highlights, we're going to explore industrial mechanics. We're going to learn about engines, electronic systems, cooling systems, how everything works, what makes things tick. We're going to look at the design, the installation, operational standards. And also included in that will be the preventative maintenance. We have some students that will go into a CNC area, and some actually end up installing equipment and working on maintenance. Another area of this is process control. In process control, what we're going to do is we're going to look at an item as it goes throughout the process. And if the part's bad before it reaches the end of the assembly line, we are able to pull that part out and get rid of it and fix any problems along the way, so we don't end up with a bunch of parts that are not correct. Also included is your material fundamentals and manufacturing processes. So you're going to learn about different types of steels, what steel's made of, what makes stainless for steel. We add some nickel and some chrome in there to make our stainless steels. We're going to look at programming fundamentals, the G and the M codes that control our Fanuc controllers. The language we use is Fanuc compatible. Fanuc controller is a common controller that is used out in industries. Then there are places in the program for different electives. So if you want to concentrate on automation and robotics, maybe on business, metrology, petroleum, natural gas in different areas, you can do that. So those electives provide that alternative area for you to choose areas you want to concentrate on. Next slide, please, Sue. So, are you interested in pursuing industrial technology or any of our other programs? The first thing you want to do is look at the program curriculum planner. Then look at the courses that are offered in that planner and say, okay, do I want to go for the whole program, the associate degree, or do I want to maybe take certain courses towards a certificate and then go on to the actual associate degree? That's step 3. So let's move on to the next slide. So along with the basic manufacturing certificate that Mr. Robinson had talked about, we have CNC programming technology, workplace certificate. This is going to give you the basics for learning your G and your M code, learning how to actually write the programs for a mill and a lathe, and also learn some robotics and automation programming. Along with that, there are technical trades that we have an applied technology certificate. And one last certificate that's not listed on here is an apprenticeship certificate. We work with several industries in the area and help them with their actual apprenticeship. So one of the teachers actually teaches the classes from the college for the apprenticeship. So when they're done with their apprenticeship, they'll also receive a certificate from Butler County Community College. So it's pretty nice because we're able to grant them some credit for what they do on the job and also what they learn from the college. All right, next slide, please. So what courses do I need to take? Remember how I told you, you need to look at that program planner. So for example, we have Applied Machine Shop Mathematics or Technical Math 1. Well, if you're going on to the associate degree, you want to take the Technical Math 1, not the Applied Machine Shop Math. Another area would be blueprint reading or technical graphics using AutoCAD. The technical graphics using the AutoCAD goes into the associate degree. The blueprint reading course does not, but it would provide you with a very solid foundation. So those are some of the things that we need to look at. You know, what is it you want to do? Do I want to go on? How do I want to pursue this? And we're here to help you. So don't be afraid to ask questions and come to your professors at any time and say, hey, help me out. What do I need to do? What do I need to look at here? Okay, so next slide. So another question is, what about your math? I get some students saying they're just terrified about math. Don't worry about it. We have different ways to evaluate what your math level is. We'll find out where you're at, and we'll start you. If we have to start you at the very bottom, we'll do that. We'll build you up and get a foundation and get you going. Tutoring is free if you need it. And so if you're interested in a career path, go the Tech Math 1 pathway. If you love math, then take college algebra, or if you even had calculus, go the calculus pathway. The Tech Math 1 is the lowest level. You can always go to a higher level when you're looking at taking your math in there. So we're here to help you. Next slide. So connect with us. Come join us. Don't ever be afraid to ask questions. This is our contact number. Give us a call. We're here to help you. Our doors are always open. That's the nice thing about Butler County Community College. You'll find the teachers are there. We're accessible. We'll answer any questions that you have. So hope to see you. Take care.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you for speaking with us about applied industrial technology at BC3. Remember, if you have any additional questions for Karen, you can type them into the question pane of the control panel at any time. Before I introduce our next faculty presenter, we have another question to ask our audience. Our question is, the field of metrology is related to the weather, theoretical, not practical, taught in colleges across the country, short on job opportunities.
Karen Riethmiller and Kevin Rudiger.
Thanks, Susie. Manufacturing is experiencing a rebirth.
Everyone
You work in our fab lab to
closed real technology.
What Wikipedia said, but any problems along the way. So we don't. And one last certificate, it's not accessible. We'll answer any.
We are now closing the poll. And it looks like the majority of you selected that none of the above was the correct response to this question. I would now like to introduce our next presenter, Mr. Kevin Rudiger, Associate Professor in the STEM Division. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks, Susie, and thanks everybody for showing up. And I appreciate your patience with us this evening. And hopefully I can keep everything moving along as well as Mr. Robinson and Mrs. Riethmiller did. So yes, my name is Kevin Rudiger, and I am the program coordinator for our measurement science metrology technology degree. And for those of you that participated in the poll, the correct answer was none of the above. And I hope to answer all of those questions or take note of where that answer comes from as we go through the slides. So first of all, let's talk about what metrology is. We often get that we are related to the weather, and that is not true, although it is an ology, which means study of, what comes from the Greek word logos. Our form, it comes from metron, which means to measure. So technically we are measurement science, or the science of measurement. So what do we do? I like to think of it as our job is to answer what seems to be a pretty simple question. How do you know that you are measuring correctly? And unfortunately, most of us go through our lives assuming that things are just kind of magically measured correctly. So a real world example would be when you go to the gas pump. Went to Sam's Club today, put down, $1, $2.11 for a gallon. My question to you would be, how do you know that you got exactly a gallon's worth of gas? How do you know they give you half a gallon or a gallon and a half? And so our job is to make sure that when you pay for a gallon of gas, you get a gallon of gas. Now, a gallon of gas is a kind of a real world example, but the truth is everything that is measured or everything that's manufactured is measured in some way. So what that means is people who graduate from our program are needed in every field that's out there. So, aerospace, pharmaceutical, energy, all forms of manufacturing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these things are necessary for us. Some unrelated or some related things to this, they're a little more real world when it comes to, how do you know things are measuring correctly. There's a couple of really famous situations where measurements went wrong. One is there is a grocery store chain that's gotten in trouble because the scales that they were using to sell things from the deli were incorrect. So if you're trying to buy a pound worth of roast beef and you're only getting, 9/10 of a pound, that's, it's illegal. Another thing that's fun to do, if you have a couple of minutes when you get off of here, go to Google and type in Butler parking meters. Somebody was getting tickets in the city of Butler, and what they found out was the parking meters weren't calibrated ever, and they actually brought a lawsuit saying that the tickets that they were getting were illegal, and it was proven that the city of Butler had never calibrated their parking meters. So it's one of those things that when nobody thinks about measurement until until it's not there or until something goes wrong. So again, that's our job. How are we measuring something correctly? So let's move on. Our next discussion is, of course, what are our tell me about our graduates. One of the things that we can say is basically 100% employment. I qualify that basically, um, not because we don't have it, but every once in a while we get a student who says, I'm just going to go on to school. Outside of that, everybody that I've ever graduated in my time here has gotten a job in the field. Many of them pursue advanced degrees, either again directly from BC3 or once they get into the workplace. There's an unlimited opportunity that's available for people in this field. Whether you get that advanced degree or not, I can give you, name and number of people who have taken either an advanced degree path and been successful. I can show you, many, many, many examples of people who just with the associate's degree have been very, very, very successful. We get requests from across the country looking for people who graduate from our field because it is so specific. Um, I mean, literally all over the place. This is a blessing for our grads because they almost never have to go looking for jobs. The jobs will literally come to them. People contact BC3 all of the time saying, we're looking for somebody with these skills, or we've already hired somebody with these skills and we're looking for more of them, right? So that's the blessing part. The curse part is simply this: there's such a demand that it's not uncommon for all of our students to have jobs. And there's more people looking for jobs than there are people to fill them. So again, almost 100% placement. The field of metrology is kind of a subculture in itself. We are very, very, very well known in that subculture. So much so that we've even had international students come to BC3 on campus and take our program and then take the skills back to these countries of Ghana and Kuwait. And so if we can move on. Some of the major fields that our grads get into, and these are just really, quick headings. Creation and maintenance of standards. So NIST is the people who create a standard. So they would define in our country what is a gallon, or what is a second, or what is a pound. So we have students that graduate from our program that go there. The vast majority of our students, particularly since they stay in the Butler area, look at some sort of manufacturing or calibration. So they come in and start as a quality control technician or a calibration technician, those types of things. Another major group, we get into people that get into research, where they're working as an engineering technician. So setting up tests, collecting data for the engineers. So on our next slide, what we'll see is how some of that breaks down with some of the companies that have hired our graduates. So on the right-hand side, you'll see some of the local companies. You may be familiar with them. On the left-hand side are a few that I've picked out in the 16 years that I've been here. People that have got the jobs. So you see NIST in there. You see big, government agencies like NASA and Sandia National Labs. Areas like Boeing, Fluke, so on and so forth. So there are, networks that are out there. I've got contacts at all of these places from the grads that we have that are working there. And it's true of what we see here on the right-hand side too. So Penn United Technology gobbles up, everybody that they can. Same with places like Oberg and 26 and such. These are places that our grads regularly go to. So let's take a look then at what you would need to do to get a metrology degree. So our program is a 2-year degree. I'm not going to put all of the classes up there. We can have something if you want to contact me. We can talk about those. There's only a handful of programs that do metrology in the country. What I'm aware of, two that offer an associate's degree. So we're only one of two. Our program is a little bit different than the other one that's out there because we take this comprehensive approach. And so you see on the bottom there, we do dimensional, physical, optical, electrical, chemical. These are the major headings where you're going to see measurement fields. Our approach is to teach you a little bit of these. That makes you flexible, and that way you can go work at Boeing or 26 or Westinghouse or any of these, different skill sets. We give you a little bit of a background that allows you to be successful in any of those. Typical compensation, I can't promise anybody anything, but we regularly see graduates start somewhere to 30, 40,000 in this area. I've had grads that I know start at 65 grand. I've got a couple that I suspect have made more than that. The truth is, if you're willing to move, you could probably make more money the further you get away from Butler. Other benefits, of course, are 40-hour work week. You're typically working in a lab. You get health insurance, retirement, tuition reimbursements. You can take the path where, if you want to further your education, you can get your employer to pay for it. So anyway, that's my um, attempt to try to whet your appetite with metrology. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I appreciate your time and turn it back over to Susan. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for sharing with us information about BC3's Measurement Science Metrology Technology program. If you have additional questions for Kevin, don't forget you can type them into the question pane of the control panel at any time. Before I introduce our final presenter, we have one last question for our audience. Which of the following statements best describes you? I'm exploring colleges to start in the fall. I've already applied to BC3 but have not yet registered. I'm a current BC3 student and exploring programs of study. I'm a current high school student exploring my options for the future, or none of the above. Please select the response appropriate to you and click Submit. Once everyone has had a chance to respond, we will close the poll. We are now closing the poll, and let me share the results with everyone. It looks like we have a pretty equal breakdown between I've already applied to BC3 but have not yet registered, I'm a current BC3 student and exploring programs of study, and none of the above. I would now like to introduce our final presenter, Morgan Rosardi, Associate Director of Admissions, and also welcome back Dean of the STEM Division, Matt Kovac, to discuss next steps in the enrollment process. Welcome, Morgan and Matt.
Thanks again, Susie. The three programs you just learned about are several of the STEM career programs. The career programs are designed to provide you with the skills and competencies to be qualified to pursue employment opportunities upon graduation. Let me begin telling you about some of the other STEM programs by talking about our 4 transfer programs. These programs are designed for transfer to 4-year colleges and universities to pursue a bachelor's degree. Biological science program provides the foundation for a concentration in life sciences. The program is primarily intended for students transferring to a 4-year institution to complete work for a bachelor's degree in biological, medical, or related programs. Chemistry program is flexibly designed to prepare the student for a variety of fields such as chemistry, biochemistry, pharmacy, medical-related careers, and laboratory technology. The students in these programs have transferred to local institutions such as Slippery Rock University, Clarion University, and the University of Pittsburgh, among others. The engineering program provides a solid basic background for transfer to a 4-year college in various areas of engineering, including mechanical, civil, chemical, and electrical, among others. These recommended courses parallel the first 2 years of engineering curriculum at 4-year colleges. Students in the engineering program have transferred to colleges and universities such as the University of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania State University Erie campus, and Youngstown State University, among others. Mathematics program prepares a student for transfer to a senior level institution for work in mathematics or for a career as a mathematics technician in business, industry, or government. A strong mathematics background is highly desirable for those who wish to pursue a career in economics or business administration. Let me talk about the other STEM career programs. Start with the Engineering Technology with CAD program provides fundamentals to enable students to practice as engineering design and CAD drafting specialists. Emphasis is on computer-aided drafting, design of machine elements, and engineering fundamentals, as well as mathematics, science, problem solving, and communication. Typical employment opportunities include design drafter, design engineer's assistant, mechanical design detailer, and 3D modeling drafter. Some colleges and universities may accept associate degree graduates in engineering technology programs. I'll now discuss our options in electronics technology. These programs provide the students with a comprehensive background in electronics technology. Program provides the student with a general background in electronic device and circuit operation, along with extensive training in the operation and use of modern electronic test equipment. Digital and analog circuit simulation and design using state-of-the-art software and hardware is presented, as well as hands-on construction and troubleshooting techniques. BC3 offers two different tracks in electronics technology. First track is for the student who plans to transfer to a four-year college or university, or plans to seek employment upon graduation. The occupational track is for the student who only plans to seek employment upon graduation with an associate's degree. Robotics technology is a cross-disciplinary program that prepares a student for employment in all sectors of industry in which robotic devices and systems are utilized. All aspects of robotic systems are presented with emphasis on digital and microprocessor electronics, sensor operation and interfacing, high and low level programming, mechanical design, solid modeling, and autonomous robotic operation. In addition to a variety of technical employment opportunities in robotics and robotics-related industries, the program also provides graduates with transfer opportunities. The nanofabrication technology program provides the student with a comprehensive background in microelectronics and nanofabrication technology. The student will study electronic device and circuit behavior, basic chemistry and fabrication techniques used to create micron and submicron scale structures. There is a nanofabrication manufacturing technology capstone semester that is completed at the Penn State University at a significantly discounted tuition rate. Finally, the HVAC program prepares students for careers in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning industry. The curriculum enables students to gain hands-on experience while being offered theoretical instruction to enter the HVAC industry. The hands-on portion is completed in partnership with local VOTEC schools. I'll now turn it over to Morgan.
Thanks, Dean Kovac. Again, thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening to learn more about the programs in our STEM division. I just want to give you some next steps in the enrollment process in case you have not applied yet to BC3 and are thinking about starting with us. First of all, BC3 subscribes to an open admissions policy. So what that means is as long as a student has a high school diploma or a GED or high set scores, they can attend BC3. So we encourage you to apply and enroll and get started. The application website is apply.bc3.edu. And if you go to that website and you enter the code BC3bound20, you'll actually have your $25 application fee waived. So we highly encourage attendees this evening to take advantage of the cost savings. After you've applied, we will ask that you send your high school transcript or GED high set scores to us. And if you've attended other colleges and universities, please send us official copies of those transcripts as well. Next slide, please. Since we are an open enrollment institution and we don't require SATs or ACTs, we do have a placement testing process for our students. So if you do require placement testing, we will be in touch with you. However, if you've taken the SAT or ACT in the last 5 years, please send your scores to us because they may exempt you from placement testing. We've developed a new online new student orientation. So we will ask students to go through that new student orientation process if you're new to the college, just to learn a little bit more about BC3. Finally, after you've done that orientation, you'll have the opportunity to meet with one of our academic advisors. We are hosting those appointments virtually now, and you'll be able to schedule classes that fit your schedule. BC3 is offering a flexible course schedule this upcoming fall semester with a variety of different opportunities for you to take your courses face-to-face, remote, blended, or online. Our fall semester is just around the corner. It starts on August 24th. We do have a second session that starts on September 21st. It is not too late to apply and get started at BC3. So we would encourage you, if you're considering applying to BC3 in our STEM division or any of our academic programs, that you still spend some time with us. We have a lot of options to help you pay for college. You can see some of those options on the screen here. I think one of the best things about BC3 is a lot of our students are graduating debt-free. So they may be using a combination of the federal financial aid programs, such as grants and loans, They may be taking part of our easy payment plan, outside scholarships, or even third-party agencies like Pittsburgh Job Corps, OVR, or our KEYS program that does help students pay for their college education. Our financial aid office is available to you, and if you do have any questions, please stop on our website and schedule an appointment to meet with them. BC3 also cares about our students, so we have a lot of support services in place for you. As Mrs. Reed-Miller already mentioned, we do offer tutoring, which I think is one of the most fabulous things about BC3. All students are eligible for 1 hour of free tutoring per subject a week. We also offer transfer service, career services, lots of student clubs and organizations for you to get involved on campus as well while you're here. So while you're a student, we encourage you to take advantage of these opportunities. And finally, if you'd like to schedule an admissions appointment with us, we welcome that opportunity. We all use Calendly, and you can see our available links there. You can schedule up to 30 minutes to an hour to meet with one of us to discuss your transfer or career choices. We also stay very close in contact with the STEM division. So I know Dean Kovac, his door is always open to us and phone calls. So we'll definitely make sure that you get the information that you need.
Thank you, Morgan and Dean Kovac. We're now going to begin answering a few questions submitted during today's presentation. You can still submit questions through the questions pane in your control panel. Our first question this evening is from James. And James is asking, can any part of the STEM programs at BC3 be completed online? So we are going to present that question to our panel this evening.
Dean Kovac, would you like to take that one?
Sure. The basic manufacturing workplace certificate, as Mr. Robinson mentioned, is one that can be totally completed online. With regard to the other programs, there are courses within them that can be completed online, and it varies to the degree in which, or the extent to which the entire program can be completed from program to program. Anyone have anything to add to that? Please feel free to do so.
Very good. Thank you for taking that, Dean Kovac. Our next question is from Tanner, and Tanner would like to know, how do students access the CAD software?
I can take that one. With AutoCAD, our first program that we actually have, we go to the Autodesk website, and if you enter your BC3 email address, you can actually get your own copy of AutoCAD for 3 years at home to install on your computer. The other option is when you take your class from BC3, we have AutoCAD is loaded on the server. So what you do is you sign into the server from at home, and you'll have direct access to AutoCAD just like you were sitting at the desk at BC3. Mike, you want to mention something about SolidWorks then?
Yeah, SolidWorks, which is our 3D parametric modeling program, operates basically the same way. We do arrange through our retailer who sells us SolidWorks so that students can have their own copy if they wish on their own computer. It takes a lot of resources though, and you always have access anywhere on campus or from home via the server, which is great because you don't have to buy any software and you don't have to have a real high-end computer if you want to work at home, which is great.
Thank you both for addressing that as well. Looks like we have time for one final question from the audience. Rebecca would like to hear about our lab spaces and equipment. Would you be able to talk a little bit about that for her?
I can take part of that. And Kevin, could you talk about the metrology lab? Yeah, we have 1,600 square feet of a manufacturing technology lab in the first floor of our science, technology, and engineering and math building. That has our CNC machine tools, and we have industrial equipment in there. We have a Haas CNC mill and a Haas CNC lathe. We also have a CNC router, and that's where our industrial robot is that you can program. That also has a whole bunch of hand tools and measuring instruments and general shop equipment that everybody just loves to put their hands on, drills and grinders and all kinds of stuff. We also have 1,600 square feet in our digital fabrication lab, which is where our 3D printers are located. We're part of the Fab Lab network. We're one of, I believe, only 2 in the state. I believe that's true, Mr. Kovac. Actual Fab Labs, a certified Fab Lab facility. We also have a 3D scanner, laser cutter, and engraver, a vinyl cutter, and a desktop injection molding machine. And so
Excellent.
Those are 2 separate lab areas that we have.
And I can quickly speak to what we have for metrology. When we designed the building, they actually put a room in specifically for a metrology lab, and it's designed to take very precise measurements. It's got an isolated floor. It's got its own HVAC system. It's sunlight is kept out. All of those things would introduce uncertainty into our measurements. Again, we have a wide variety of different equipment that you would expect to see in industry, stuff that you get your hands on, anything from hand tools up to, we just got a brand new 3-dimensional coordinate measuring machine with articulating arm, top of the line. It's got a laser adapter on it. So everything in between for my lab. And then on the second floor, we have an electronics lab. Mr. Schiebel's lab is filled with high-end equipment from Fluke for dealing with measuring stuff in the electronic measurement world. So that's just kind of a real quick wrap up for that.
Wonderful. It all sounds fantastic. And we want to give a final thank you to our presenters today. And thank you to all of our attendees for attending our program Spotlight on Applied Technology. Attendees will receive a follow-up email with a link to view a recording of this webinar, as well as a link to our online application. Remember, you can apply now for free using the code BC3Bound20. On behalf of Butler County Community College and our presenters, thank you for joining us and have a great evening.